Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. Sam Bushman live. This is the broadcast for December the 10th in the year of our Lord 2025, promoting God, family, country, protecting life, liberty, and property. That's who we are and what we do. Lance Migliaccio, one of the Big Mig brothers, with me today. Welcome, sir.
Hey, good morning, Sam, and good morning to the Liberty RoundTable Live listeners. Happy to be here. Excited to be here, really. Love doing your show with you, man, because, of course, you know, it's shake and bake time, buddy.
Yes, it is. Telling the truth seems to be a revolutionary act these days. But I'm telling you right now, we got a barn burner broadcast for you. Now, listen, our next guest is a rock star worldwide as a physician, or a PhD. He's just got credentials, so much so that I don't even know how to describe them all, okay? But he's a distinguished molecular virologist. He has extensive research and diagnostics about all kinds of things, oral cancers, sexually transmitted diseases, the safety of COVID-19 vaccines. Oh, that's where he got in trouble. He wanted to first do no harm. Can you imagine something like that? First do no harm was his plan, and the thugs, the enemies of liberty, decided that wasn't good enough for them. No, they wanted him to basically just kill and maim and destroy, and oh, heavens to bets. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now. So the credentials are just through the roof. I mean, he's been involved in universities, published papers everywhere, peer-reviewed studies. So I'm going to just bring it to the kitchen table. It's the untold story of Dr. David Speicher. And what's the high cost? Speaking the truth. Doctor, welcome to Liberty RoundTable Live, sir.
Hey, it is great to be here, Sam and Lance.
Now I'm going to tell you, so everybody understands, you've got, let me just decide how to describe this. You've got an incredibly educated doctor with a stutter.
Yeah.
But despite all that, ladies and gentlemen, he's been able to tear it up through the COVID con. Okay? I'm telling you, he's been everywhere, done everything, telling the tale of truth everywhere he goes, and he's paid dearly for it.
Yep.
Okay, we'll dig into that. But so what you've got is you've got a blind guy doing TV. You've got a doctor with a stutter. And then you've got Lance, this rock star Rambo, what do you call it, specimen of perfection. That's the round table, Lance. What do you say to
this? This is perfect.
Well, I've got a giant head. You know, Sam, since you can't see it, you don't know that. I'm also bald, so those are the things going against me. And I am from New York, and a lot of people hold that against me. So
that's all right. We'll take what we can get. How's that? So, ladies and gentlemen, listen. His peer-reviewed studies and his public research reveals significant alterations in Pfizer and Moderna mRNA vaccines, folks, identifying incredibly high levels of what? Plasmid, DNA. What the heck's going on? President of the SV40 stuff, SV40 stuff. I don't even know how to deal with this because what they find is literally criminal. Doctor, before we get started on what you've discovered, all that, tell us a little bit about how you became a doctor.
So I love science, and it's the factual looking at how God made things, how things work. And I first wanted to be a physician, and in grade 12 I was told, don't even go on because of how you talk, you won't make it in life.
All right, funny little story for you. I was 5 years old listening to the radio. My parents decided that would be a great career for a blind guy, and so they said, hey, we want to check into radio. And they said, forget it, kid. It's like being a rock star. You'll never make it. Now I'm on radio and TV. I guess we both get the last laugh, huh?
Oh, yeah. It's just been God's path, God's doors opening up. I learned of viruses, infectious diseases, non-living things that kill. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I can do science, advise physicians, and so I did a PhD in Australia. I've worked in India, Africa, Cambodia, came back home in 2014 as my wife was somehow with child, who is a wonderful inspiration in this. I've helped.
The doctor says somehow with child. I'm not going there with a doctor. Just not doing it. just saying. Okay, so it's important for people to understand. You've been around the world. You've worked with all kinds of universities. You've got peer-reviewed papers. He doesn't stutter when he writes, ladies and gentlemen. He tears it up. And the important thing really to understand about this is he's been an advocate for scientific truth, significantly changing the discourse on vaccine safety, on COVID, etc. In fact, your work so much directly influenced Florida State Surgeon General, Dr. Joseph, how do you say his last name? Flatipo? Yeah. Okay, there you go. And their decision in Florida to say, man, this is a con job, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, our work has been a hammer worldwide in Florida, Australia, Europe. In fact, over this, Australia earlier this year coined the David Declaration about this work to say these genetic vaccines shots must be pulled because they are causing people harm.
All right, I started out with the first do no harm mantra normally of physicians and medical personnel and first responders. And I mean, that's really their mantra, ladies and gentlemen. And it's really tragic. This doctor basically said, hey, wait a minute, something's wrong here. There's manipulated information or DNA, RNA in the vaccinations. This is just not right. Do you think this is intentionally perpetrated on the American people and on the world?
Well, they could have done things differently. Pfizer's own research papers show it's a gene therapy plasmid used the digest for the DNA does not work. It's been known since day zero, and yet it was still pushed through the FDA.
Now, let's be clear. It's not really even a vaccine in the traditional sense, right, Lance? This isn't really a vaccine. It's more of a gene therapy scenario, right?
Therapy.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. We were suspended for putting out that sort of information, even stuff that just came from VAERS and CDC.
I got shut down on X for that.
Yeah, X did it to us during the Jack Dorsey reign of terror. And, of course, the same thing happened to us on YouTube. We had a lot of information that had to do with the mRNA therapy and how it wasn't working. We had lots of experts coming on. Judy Mikovits came on our show, Dr. Tenpenny, Peter McCullough. I mean, we just went on and on and on. We held a bunch of very large spaces. We had some spaces on X that were 300,000, and I think that's probably a lot of what triggered us getting these suspensions. But the truth of the matter is, the more truth you put out about actually what this alleged vaccine was, and I hate to even call it a vaccine, I think there was even some rulings here in the United States where they weren't supposed to call it a vaccine, but it continues on. We're still having these issues here, and it sounds like we're still having the issues in Canada. I don't know when these false claims will be stopped, Sam. It's pretty frightening when you think about I want to say the medical industrial complex and the control it has on the narrative.
Well, what I find interesting is we got Donald Trump in office. We thought that would be a huge thing. We got then RFK Jr. in office. We thought, okay, now this guy's going to tear it up. So far, though, I need Anthony Fauci in prison. Okay, people? I mean, this guy's a criminal of the highest order. We need literally Nuremberg trials on this kind of stuff. Those kind of trials need to happen. This is literally, in my humble opinion, to which I'm entitled. The good doctor might not say this. We'll see. But I'm telling you, it's flat out murder because they knew better. We've been telling you that from the start. You're watching Liberty Roundtable Live.
Scott Bradley here. Most Americans are painfully aware that the nation is on the wrong track and in dire straits. Unfortunately, most political pundits only nibble around the edges when they claim to address the issues. Even worse, many of the so-called solutions are simply rewarmed servings of what got us into the mess we currently face. And the politicians think we're so gullible and naive that we'll buy their lies that they have reformed and now understand where they led us astray. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that they simply wish to continue to hold power. The solution to America's challenges is found in returning to the timeless principles found in the United States Constitution. My book and lecture series will reawaken in Americans an understanding and love of the principles which made this nation the freest, most prosperous, happiest, and most respected nation on earth. Visit topreservethenation.com and order my book and lectures to begin the restoration of this great nation.
Experience the untamed spirit of the American West with Range Magazine. Each issue is a visual journey featuring award-winning photography and compelling stories that capture the heart of ranching and rural life. Stay informed on the challenges and triumphs of those who live and work on the land. Subscribe today and receive quarterly editions delivered to your doorstep, and join a community that cherishes the enduring legacy of the Western frontier. Visit rangemagazine.com to subscribe.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At cspoa.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever.
Dr. David J. Speicher with us, ladies and gentlemen. DavidSpeicher.com for his website. He's also got a Substack, Substack.com, and then /@ David Speicher. Great content, great research, doubling down, telling the truth. So, Doctor, I made a very bold statement right before the pause. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I want to know, to me, what they've done is intentionally criminal, and we need to prosecute to the full extent of the law. Fauci needs to go to prison.
Yes. I agree. All of this was known before it was rolled out, mandated, pushed on people, and caused people harm. Now, Pfizer admitted these shots are not fully tested, and has said they are not fully tested, and there's nothing the FDA can do, and it's because they have immunity, which I think needs to be revoked. At the same time, all of our work coming out has exposed an entire scientific peer review cartel trying to shut down work like ours and control the scientific narrative.
And that's really, in my mind, Lance, the larger crime. It's one thing to create DNA that'll manipulate the human genome forever, pretend it's a vaccine, kind of lie, pretend it's safe and effective and that they've done preliminary studies, force a preliminary, hey, because of an emergency, we're going to release it even though it's not been fully tested and properly vetted the way it needs to be, the way it normally would be. We'll skip that because, Operation Warp Speed and all this kind of stuff. And then we double down and we, not only that, we do all that. We murder tons of people. Then we say, hey, we're going to continue with the scientific fudgery is the term I would use for it. This dishonest narrative that hey, these mRNAs do what they claim to do, that they're safe, that they're effective. We haven't even backed off that now that the emergency is over from a governmental point of view around the world, Lance. And to me, the bigger crime is when it was done to us. That's bad enough, and people should go to prison. Nuremberg trials should happen. Nuremberg-style trials, I should say. But at the end of the day, they're still continuing to perpetuate this lie as they protect these companies from liability, and they let them move forward with dishonest, immoral science, Lance.
You said a mouthful, but in fact, 100% accurate. My argument has always been that the medical system, the way it operates now, is they prefer to treat the symptoms and not the disease. And then, of course, having pre-existing knowledge that the mRNA, shot, the clot shot, was not effective, and that it actually had lots of scientific data that supported the fact that it was downright dangerous. And still they, pushed it across the globe, telling us it was a solution. We still don't know the numbers, even in China, where they forced everybody to get vaccinated. How many really died? We've heard literally tens of millions died. It looked like they did it intentionally. At this point, my problem is I don't trust the information that's coming out of the medical community. I trust people like, the doctor we have on today. I trust people like the experts that told me not to take the shot. Thankfully, I didn't take the shot.
Amen.
And I was able to convince the people in my family not to take it, with the exception of my mother. My sister, because of her age, pushed her to take it. I'm not even positive that she doesn't have consequences from it. She's had some medical issues that I don't know what to link them to. She's always been incredibly healthy. She's 93. But this is the message, Sam. This is what we're dealing with. Government getting involved in science. And I think that there's a more nefarious plot running behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're pushing a dishonest delivery of science. I mean, Fauci literally said we're following the science. Then he literally came back and said, I am the science. Then they literally came back and said, oh, well, the 6-foot rule wasn't scientific. We kind of lied, but we had to because it was an emergency. Well, here's the problem that I have. It's one thing, whether we believe them or not, if they believe that the vaccines are safe and effective and they push them. That's horribly wrong. It's not science, but that's bad enough. But what makes it worse and what adds insult to injury, and where I believe the criminality enters the picture, they knew scientifically different. They lied about the origins of the virus in the first place. Mm-hmm. And then here's the biggest insult to injury that they've added in my mind. Anybody who tried to get real solutions, from Dr. Pierre Corey on down to hundreds of doctors who literally said ivermectin will help, this and that will help. There's a lot of different protocols that can make a difference. Let's experiment. Let's work on it. Let's try. Every one of those doctors had their careers destroyed, and every one of the solutions that could really improve people's lives and save people was rejected, ridiculed, mocked. I mean, they're calling ivermectin horse poop. They're literally, well, I'm telling you right now, I never took the vaccine. I did take ivermectin, and me and our good syndicated host, Joe, both of us took ivermectin, and it saved our lives. Okay, but that's the insult to injury to me. They forced everything that could actually help out of the marketplace, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, at the end of the day, the most dangerous thing to me is when they started putting out misinformation. Ivermectin won a Nobel Prize. At the end of the day, they tried to frame it in a way that wasn't accurate. Even Joe Rogan, said he was taking horse paste. And that's the problem. when there's actual solutions. Because I have to tell you, I caught COVID allegedly twice because I still don't know if I trust the test. Although
I got it 3 times.
I didn't use the PCR test. I used the oral test. So whether or not those were accurate, I have no idea. But I took ivermectin. I took the Z-Pack. Dr. Zelenko, came out with that. I did all that thing, and I flew through it in flying colors. I was done with it in a week. The only thing that I had that kind of hung over was my taste buds, and my sense of smell has not been the same since, but no big deal. Maybe it's a benefit. Who knows? Maybe I eat less because of it, because, of course, your weight is always a struggle. But I'm frightened about some of the reports I heard about some of the awful things inside of the vaccines when they were being tested globally. And I'd like to ask the doctor, I don't know what kind of tests you saw or what kind of reporting or peer-reviewed reports you saw, but there were some things in the vaccine that just shouldn't be there because nobody could explain why they were in there to begin with.
So on that, I've looked at 44 vaccine vials. I've looked at Pfizer and Moderna, all of the types of those, and there are high amounts of DNA in there. It's basically man-made synthetic plasmid DNA, and we're told, it's fragmented and it's not bioactive, and in fact it is. There's a SV4T promoter and enhancer on the Pfizer plasmid, and it's been known since 1999, David Dean's work, that if you put a DNA fragment attached to a SV40 enhancer into a non-dividing cell, that fragmented DNA will cross a nuclear envelope, a wall protecting our cellular DNA, and go in there and integrate into the DNA of that cell. And the fact a SV4T sequence is on that plasmid was not disclosed to the FDA at all is completely evil.
And Sam, I got to say that the legal description of people, even by the court system, is based on our DNA as it sits. When you modify that DNA and you become something other than what normal human structure is, the question is that part of the decision here? Was this a decision they made behind the scenes? Because are you still a human being if your DNA has been modified? Or does that need some sort of a new ruling by the legal system, which I don't believe? And of course, God made a perfect being when he made us, made it in his own light and his own appearance. The question is now, what are we if we've taken that shot? Are we not a human being any longer? Is the law not applied to us directly?
Well, the question becomes, are you a Fauci facade? Are you a humanoid? I'm telling you, Dr. David Speicher with us, ladies and gentlemen. He's from Canada. He's a rock star. He's given up his whole career to tell the truth and first do no harm. We need more of these leaders. I'm telling you right now. When we come back, I'm saying this is criminal, but I want to know, what are we turning the people into when we mess with this RNA and DNA and all this kind of stuff? What's going to happen? Are we going to be dumbed down as a population and the elites are going to become rock stars? What's going to happen? Eugenics is at the center of this, people. Don't make any mistake about that. Lance Migliaccio, yours truly, and Dr. David Speicher. You're watching Liberty Roundtable Live.
Proclaiming liberty across the land. You're listening to Liberty News Radio.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The focus was on affordability at a huge Trump rally last night in Pennsylvania's Poconos. President skewer Democrats are blaming him for skyrocketing prices.
The Democrats go out, prices are too high. Yeah, they're too high because they caused them to be too high. But now they're coming down.
The president says he inherited the highest inflation in history from the Biden administration, but now that's changing. Gas prices have tumbled. AAA says they're down an average of 6 cents a gallon from a year ago. Later today, the Federal Reserve to announce its latest action on interest rates. A 48-year-old Indiana man is facing murder and assault charges for yesterday's shooting on the Kentucky State University campus in Frankfort. Australia's first in the world ban on social media for the under-16 crowd is now in full force. The BBC's Katie Watson in Sydney says teens have been locked out of their accounts.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has called this a profound reform that will reverberate around the world. It's one of the biggest social and cultural changes that our nation has faced, he said. Kids can have their childhood and parents a greater peace of mind. But day one of the ban, and it's clear thousands of Australian youngsters are finding ways around the restrictions to access their favourite social media platforms. The government has admitted it won't be a flawless process, but the fact that it's happening at all, ministers say, is a win. The hope is that by Christmas, the government will have a better idea about whether the restrictions are working and what repercussions there'll be for companies that fail to follow the rules.
The social media ban is being challenged in court. Portland and Seattle are among cities in the Pacific Northwest underwater. Widespread flooding, it's a result of an atmospheric river. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow is up about 98 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-366-6161. That's 800-366-6161. 800-366-6161.
This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would enslave this country in darkness, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in fact.
TheEpochTimes.com. Looking for an IT partner that truly understands your needs? Managed IT Services is the answer. We meet with you regularly to discuss your goals and form a tailored technology plan. Our customers have called us a trusted advisor who delivers. When it comes to IT, we do it all. Firewalls, cloud storage, server migration, and more. Say goodbye to long-term contracts and hello to a team that earns your business month after month. Call 801-706-6980 now and let Managed IT Services transform your IT experience.
Why don't we say to the government writ large that they have to spend a little bit less? Anybody ever had less money this year than you had last? Anybody ever having a 1% pay cut? You deal with it. That's what government needs, a 1% pay cut. If you take a 1% pay cut across the board, you have more than enough money to actually pay for the disaster relief. But nobody's going to do that because they're fiscally irresponsible. Who are they? Republicans. Who are they? Democrats. Who are they? Virtually the whole body is careless and reckless with your money. So the money will not be offset by cuts anywhere. The money will be added to the debt, and there will be a day of reckoning. What's the day of reckoning? The day of reckoning may well be the collapse of the stock market. The day of reckoning may be the collapse of the dollar. When it comes, I can't tell you exactly, but I can tell you it has happened repeatedly in history when countries ruin their currency.
Welcome back to Liberty Roundtable Live. We're here with your host, Sam Bushman, of course, myself, Lance Migliaccio from the Big Mig Show, and with us, Dr. David Speicher, PhD, COVID expert. What are we talking about? What it means to be a medical truth teller and the consequences of those actions. Of course, all of us dealt with the COVID plandemic, I like to call it. In this case, we're talking about Canada and the U.S. and the behavior towards its people, the forced mandates, the clot shot, call it whatever you will. I just proposed a question right before the break to Dr. David Speicher, and I asked him, what exactly do you think the consequences are for this? And of course, what we're really discussing is, did these people that took the vaccine not know that they were altering their DNA, that they were altering their mRNA? And does their legal status change with that? My concern always was, all of a sudden, your DNA doesn't match the legal description of being a human being. Does that mean maybe there's consequences that go beyond the medical issues caused by the vaccine? Doctor, what do you think? Do you think these people altered what their human genome enough that maybe they aren't considered humans any longer?
Well, it's a very interesting concerning concept. We do know that these shots have caused extreme harm. I know of a 17-year-old here in Canada, Sean Hartman, got one Pfizer shot and was dead in his bedroom 33 days later. Mike Kilosh has taken 4 Moderna vaccines. He's 58 and will never walk again, and is in long-term care home, abandoned by our healthcare system, and so it's no surprise these things have caused harm. What we don't know is the long-term effects of these things. I don't think in our own lifetime we will know the full extent of harm of these shots. In fact, we are now examining unvaxxed and vaxxed sperm and semen samples, and I hope I don't find a thing if we find DNA of the vaccine in a sperm cell, and that cell can go with the egg and make a fully
so the question becomes, is it in the sperm and or is it in the egg? And the question, really starts to ask some questions, because we know they first said that it didn't cross the blood-brain barrier, but now we find out that it did, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it sure has. If it is in a sperm cell and in a fully formed person, and these shots could have changed the human genome on a global scale, transgenerationally, and once it's in, there's no way to get things out.
So, Lance, if you study eugenics, You know, back in Hitler's day, he was a big eugenics guy, and the government of the United States was heavily involved with Hitler on this. And when Hitler got kind of outed, they jettisoned him. And, you know, many say he went to Argentina and they spared his life. But nevertheless, I digress. I bring this up because we've taken eugenics underground, but it still is alive and well and as it always was. And there's been all kinds of, knowledge out there about dumbing down the average Joe citizen, but helping these other folks that are kind of the elitists, those who are above the law. Literally, they have all kinds of strange relationships to preserve their gene pool. I don't even want to go there, but it gets weird fast.
It's anyway, all I'm saying
is, so they want to have this kind of elite group and then this dumbed down group, and nobody in the middle is what the eugenics experts, the elite should live forever. They should have their own personal internal family relations to keep their gene pool, whatever. And the rest of us should just kind of go to heck and kind of melt down. I mean, is your studies matching that? Because that's my research on this is that's been reiterated many times. And you think about this DNA manipulation, RNA and everything else, and you kind of go, these gene therapies are headed that way if we're not very careful. It might not be that the first go round, but if we keep using these, where will it go? Well, intentional? No, we didn't mean to. They'll say that, but yet how knowledgeable are they with the literal manipulated underground eugenics movement? I'm just telling you right now, these people are psychotic and they have an agenda. And we don't know what their real knowledge set is, do we, Lance? And then Doctor.
You know, I think there's so many points you made here, but let me say, I truthfully do believe there's an agenda to depopulate, a lot of the world. They claim, of course, we've heard it from Davos. We've heard it from the Trilateral Commission.
Bill Gates.
Yeah. Bill Gates, here's a guy that has no scientific background and has taken it upon himself based on his net worth that we should take his advice no matter what. And I would say that what he's done is criminal. I don't like what he's doing with mosquitoes. I don't like what he's doing with bioengineered foods. We're hearing lots and lots of, arguments for why we're supposed to be eating insects and why we're not supposed to eat beef. The question that really comes to mind for me, Sam, is I still think this administration here in the United States, and I can't speak for Canada, but I'll speak for us, we're not seeing the accountability and consequences and the transparency that we were guaranteed during the preliminary election for the president in this last run. I heard we were gonna, and I'm right. The RFK Jr., he's been extremely proactive, but Congress has done everything to stop him. The medical lobbyists are powerful, as are people like Bill Gates that feel like they should be able to force feed us this policy where we have to do what they say we're going to do. And I'm simply not going to do it. And I am concerned. I'm very concerned. And what I would say to the doctor, how do we fix this? Because this is going on across the globe where non-experts say they're experts, where the experts' information is being suppressed and denied to the public. YouTube,
AKA the current doctor on live with us now, right?
100%. I mean, look at the attacks on him alone. And we heard it. Look at Judy Mikovits. She was jailed for some of the things she did simply because she was a truth teller from a way back. Look at Fauci's participation in the AIDS pandemic for AIDS research, even what he's done to beagles. At this point, I'd like to see Fauci's head stuck in a box and have those same sandflies eat him alive. This is the end of the day. I don't know how we fix this.
That's going a little bit far, but your point is we do need Nuremberg trials and we do need accountability to the fullest extent of the law. I mean, your point's well taken.
And we should reverse the pardons. How about the auto pen pardon that gave Fauci basically unlimited ability to violate the law, Sam?
And be the highest paid person that's on a pension, right?
Crazy. He made so much money off of this, and that's the disgusting part of it. It's all about money. It's all about greed. It's all about power. And I don't like the elites. As far as Davos is concerned, I think I would declare that if I was president of the United States, I'd pass an executive order that they are enemies of the United States, that they are international terrorists, anybody that attends that event. Because they're sitting here, they're conspiring.
Their goal is a secret combination to destroy the sovereignty of all nations. That's their real goal. And on the ashes of that, they want to create their new global agenda with them at the helm, and there'll be no checks and balances then. Doctor, they basically destroyed your career. You've been without a job since 2023. How do you get back your mojo? How do you get back your prestige and everything else? Is it even possible?
Well, there's times when it's mentally and physically draining. I'm being attacked on multiple sides, work, science, family, yeah, and it's a mentally draining thing. In October 19th, 2023, my 9-year-old son, he said, "Dad, if this will help save people's lives, it's worth getting out." And so I put out things knowing that attacks might come, knowing that God goes first and will
Amen. All right, hold on, Doctor. I want to keep you a little longer. Stay there, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Liberty Roundtable Live. I'm telling you, this is a riveting interview. Truth tellers.
Have you ever had great honey? No, I mean really good, all-natural, raw honey? Well, now you can, thanks to localhoneyman.com. We can ship out our locally made honey all across the U.S. So don't worry, you won't miss out. Plus, Local Honeyman has so many different flavors, like Utah Wildflower, High Desert Delight, Happy Valley, and Blackberry, just to name a few. So purchase your delicious raw honey today at localhoneyman.com.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
Attention collectors and savvy investors. We are excited to announce a momentous evolution in our journey. Introducing Freewater Coin Company, formerly known as Rust Coin and Gift. This rebranding takes us back to the very roots of where it all began, Freewater, Oregon. It's a tribute to the legacy of Al Rust and a celebration of 3 generations of dedication to excellence in the world of coins and precious gifts. Al, Brian, and Jake Rust standing strong through 64 years of service. Discover a world of exceptional service at Freewater Coin Company, your premier destination for genuine, honest money and precious gifts. Under Brian's expert guidance, Freewater Coin Company, building on the legacy of Rust Coin and Gift, continues its tradition of trust and excellence. Visit us at our Provo, Utah location. Explore our treasures online at freewatercoinco.com or call us at 801-377-1574. Freewater Coin Company, where your future is built one honest coin at a time.
Ladies and gentlemen, they want to use Dr. Speicher's disability against him. The truth is, he's a rock star around the world. He's done so much in writing and research and critical thinking. He's literally been sidelined for his willingness to tell the tale of truth. He's been sidelined for his desire to absolutely put real information in the hands of those who should be able to use it. Donald Trump should have a press conference. You know, he had those every single day during COVID, and he told us how he's going to send everybody these ventilators. And I mean, all the ventilators did was 1, kill everybody, and 2, we never used most of them. It was a clown show. And now what we really need is somebody to come out and tell the truth and basically, you know, use doctors like David Speicher. And he needs to be able to tell his story. And it can be done so easily, ladies and gentlemen, right? If Donald, if RFK Jr., if truth tellers were in the government. The problem is they're not, though. So this poor doctor hasn't had a job for a couple of years. It's a horrible tragedy. In my opinion, we're losing the brain trust over this, Lance.
Well, absolutely. Let's face it. Some of the brightest and best have been attacked in a way to try to discredit them from the ground up. It's normal, but that's part of the narrative control. You have to get rid of the people that are the true experts. You have to get rid of the people that are going to think outside the box. In his case, of course, he was attacked. He put out the truth. He put out the knowledge. And at the end of the day, that's not what they want. You know, Sam, you were talking about something on the break. And when it comes to the vaccines, and morticians across the country have been reporting about these deep long, rubbery clots they're pulling out of people. And the only
Tom Havlin's been an expert. We've had him on about this very topic.
And we've done it on our show. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons I was banned. We showed the clots. They had them in these jars, and they would show these crazy things they were pulling out of bodies. There's that. We've heard about some technology, about some.
And they're scary. They're frightening. They're like freaking Frankenstein.
No, they are freaky looking things, and the morticians have agreed they've never seen these prior to the COVID vaccines. They didn't occur prior to this. There weren't any clots like that. So you look at that. We've heard about some stories. I had some experts on out of Asia talking about self-assembling nanoparticles, benzene sheeting. They discussed snake venom in some of the shots that nobody can really explain. Some of these things they're finding, and these are actually.
Let me stop you though. When you say nobody can explain, they know full well why it's in there though. This is engineered. Okay, people do know. Doctor, what do you know about that in terms of snake venom in there and some of these other weird things in there that are like the average Joe can't explain why it's there, but yet it is. I'm telling you, those who scientifically manufactured this crisis, created this virus in the first place, or whatever you want to call it, and then created the kill shot at warp speed for this. Donald might have been a pawn. Donald might be involved. Don't know at this point. But what do you know about some of those claims? Is there any factual evidence that you have related to that?
There is none that I've seen. So.
Okay, well, we need to dig into that more because that stuff they claim is in there, and I'm sure it's in there for a very sinister, I'm going to say the word sinister like 3 times, sinister reasons for that. But see, RFK Jr. should know better too. When we talk about David J. Speicher, well-known physician and PhD and everything else, okay, RFK Jr. has a similar speech impediment, right, Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. He had some issues, and of course they've used that against him when he's spoken.
I know, and it's wicked, it's evil, it's satanic. How dare they?
Yeah, and it's really awful. They shouldn't be going after people for a disability. It's clear that Dr. Speicher's an expert. He successfully published numerous papers and lots of information that proves his knowledge base. His stutter has nothing to do with his ability for his brain to function in a way that has proved him to be the kind of guy that's putting out trusted material. His material has been used.
What do you have, over 30 peer-reviewed papers going on?
Yep.
30. Which is an incredible amount of material for anybody that understands what it takes to have a peer-reviewed paper. It's an incredible amount of expertise that goes into that and knowledge. Mm-hmm. But that's what they do, Sam. They have to discredit Dr. Speicher because if Dr. Speicher is speaking the truth, well, then, of course, everything goes out the window. And that's what they did to all of them. Look at Dr. Stella Emanuel. She's a friend of mine, absolute expert. They tried to undermine her and drive her into the ground.
They did the same thing to Pierre Corey.
Yeah, look at Dr. Pierre Corey. He's been on my show. He's a great guy, incredible expert. But that's what was the whole
Peter
intent.
McCullough. We can keep going.
If you take the narratives that are propelled into the media, they use mainstream media, and I believe that these operations are much more nefarious. I think they're plotted. And when it comes to COVID, look what they did to Trump when he talked about the China virus. Of course. They didn't want to say it, but now there's more and more proof saying that, in fact, it was manufactured in the Wuhan lab. So my point is, when is to become full transparency? When does our government stop being operated in a manner that acts like they're our daddy and mommy, and they're going to filter down the information? And I don't care whether it's about 9/11, the Dirty 51, the Russian collusion hoax, the Hunter Biden laptop, the Sessions laptop. When are they going to just open up the floodgates and let it out? Even UFOs. I mean, we're getting down a couple of deep rabbit holes here, but I'm tired of them filtering the information. I don't need them to filter the information.
Yeah, they think you can't handle the truth, Lance.
That's well, they think they're superior beings to us. They think they're above the law. At the end of the day, I don't want that anymore. I'm done with it.
Yeah, that's why we go back to the eugenics discussion. So, Dr. David Speicher, we want to tell your story. It's the untold story of Dr. David Speicher. Mm-hmm. It's a tell-all interview. You can get it on his website, too, of integrity, sacrifice, and the high cost of speaking the truth, which means you basically get your whole career ruined. How's your family taking it? Your son obviously is for the truth. Thank heavens for that. Has your wife been rock star in this too?
She is not a scientist and has just left everything to me. She thinks that this vaccine is insane, evil, and that to have pushed all of this over a cold is just nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, she may not be a scientist,
I agree with
but
her.
she's spot on.
No, she is. I agree with her. There were so many solutions, and Sam, you mentioned the ventilators, and we, along with that came remdesivir.
Clown show, dude.
And on our show, we call remdesivir "Run, Death is Near." So many people suffered the consequences. Even George Ballantyne, my co-host, his cousin died.
Toxic.
They put him on a ventilator. It is toxic.
It is toxic. And you put Ren Death is near in bed with a ventilator, and you just
it's
almost
over
guaranteed a kill.
It liquefies your organs.
It starts with the kill shot.
Yeah.
Then hey, we go right down. Why are they doing that though? Do you think it's who's in on it? Do you think the president's even in on it, Doctor?
Well, we know in the last days, Satan will run this earth, and it's just evil being paraded in plain sight. And will these guys open their eyes? Ephesians 2, Satan has blinded the eyes of men unless God opens up the scientists and physicians' eyes. There's people being maimed and killed, and they're still blinded to it because it's no longer about science and the facts. It's about pushing a government agenda, and it's about time all of us follow both the science and the silenced.
Yeah. Amen to that. Doctor, thanks so much for your stand. Thank you so much for being a truth teller. Thank you for your peer-reviewed papers. All I can say is this. I'm grateful for people like you, like Pierre Corey. There's many who have stood up, and I know they've been sidelined and lost their jobs and suffered greatly for it. Lance and I have suffered greatly in our own ways. I had the FCC, the USDA, and the IRS attack me all at the same time. So, we've all been through our kind of furnace fire, so to speak. But at the end of the day, you know what? We can meet our maker and be happy that we stood tall for the sacred cause of liberty. We stood on God's side and stood for the truth. And thank you for your service and your work, sir. Please keep us posted on what you're doing, will you?
Yes, I sure will. I just lost lab access for the third time. Yes, the third day, because I'm saying things. I'm on the facts, and people are trying to silence this. But
all right, brother, I just sent you Tom Havlin's information. Get with him though, because he can help. He can help, and what you can do is get a co-host on the radio and TV with you too, to help you tell the story and everything else. I think we all need help. I'm a blind person doing TV, and that's why I got all these cool sighted people around me. They're the ones that get the credit, even though I seem to get the limelight. They're the rock stars of the whole story. Thank you so much, Dr. David J. Speicher. DavidSpeicher.com. I'm Sam Bushman. Lance Migliaccio with me. Liberty Roundtable Live, ladies and gentlemen, is syndicated by the Loving Liberty Radio Networks. Spread the word, share the love, lovingliberty.net, and God save the Republic of the United States of America.